Truth.
No chaser.
Truth.
No chaser.
Welcome to Truth No Chaser. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Frank.
And this is a shot of truth stirred with bold opinions, reversing the miseducation of the black community as it relates to health and politics.
Yes, and today we have Miss Jada Metcalf with us. Miss Jada is a birth doula and certified breastfeeding specialist. Today we're going to talk about the role of a doula, the benefits and importance of a doula as it pertains to the black community, and what are some of the takeaways for those that may be looking for a doula or maybe looking to become one themselves. Yes, so welcome to the show, Miss Jada.
Welcome, Jada.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Do you have to say Miss Jada or can we just say Jada?
Jada is fine.
Okay, I'm
Jada's
going to go with Jada.
Okay, what was Jada? DJ.
My mom always raised me to say Miss.
Oh.
Okay, so but
Sorry, Missy.
So what we gonna do, because she is from the A right here, born and raised. So you know how we do the icebreakers. So we're gonna ask you a few ATL questions.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready? Okay, first question. Cascade or Golden Glide?
Oh, Cascade.
Cascade all day. Look, I don't even think that was a
West Side.
West Side. There you go. Okay. Bangers. ATL bangers. Lean with it, rock with it, or Laffy Taffy?
Oh, lean with it, rock with it.
Lean with it, rock with
That
it.
was
There
a
you
that
go.
was a hard one.
That was
a
hard.
one. Yeah.
That was tough. Okay, so we're gonna
You
stay.
said it so fast though. You was like,
Right.
lean with it.
Yeah.
Definitely
lean
did.
with it.
She go right into it.
Lean, though.
Okay, so we're gonna stay with the dance trend in to Atlanta classics. Yeet
Look at her face. What's coming next?
or Bankhead Bounce?
Yeet.
She's ready.
figured so.
You see her face?
I figure so. Yeah. This one right here might tear you apart.
Uh-oh.
This last one. Outcast or Goody Mob?
There's nothing. Oh, God.
Yeah.
She must say there's nothing.
Porter had that.
There's nothing. Got her.
Oh, my God. That one. I don't even want to say that aloud. Outcast fan for life.
Listen, Dungeon Family, you can't go wrong.
You
Either
cannot,
one.
you
Yeah,
cannot, you
so
cannot.
That's what's up. Good job.
Shout
All
out to
right.
Goody Mob, too.
Shout out to Goody Mob. Yeah. Don't worry, you already said they out of there, so don't try to listen to them down.
She's like, this is a hard
You
one.
never know. This is Atlanta. You're running to people.
Absolutely. All right, so.
So, Miss Jada, after the icebreaker,
Yes.
for those who are new to doulas, myself included,
Okay.
can you give us a little history or brief history on the medical part of it and the spiritual part and how it ties in?
Okay, well, the first piece of misinformation about doulas is medical. We really don't do any medical care at all. So no temperatures, no blood pressures. Now, there are some doulas that may have other certifications, such as an RN or LPN, and their scope can go a little further. But we basically provide emotional, mental, and physical support for families, for birthing people, mothers, as well. And we protect the space of natural birth. We've been doing this for generations, long times, until hospitals came about in about 1920s. And then currently about 98% of families birth in hospitals. Before that, everything was home birth. And we had what we call granny midwives. And these were certain women that just had the intuitive skills of helping women birth babies. And they also had attendants or companions. So the term doula is really a Greek term. It's not something that's I don't even really like to use the term doula, but it's more commonly known. We were just birth keepers, families. So birth has been removed, particularly for women. We don't really get to see women birth their babies, so everyone is in the hospitals. But medically, we tend to work with midwives. There are some doulas that do work in the hospitals, and there are some that may even attend unassisted or what we call free births, where families don't want anyone watching over them, whether it's an OBGYN or a midwife. They are trusting the powers of natural childbirth.
Okay. Okay. So as far as like, so we're the podcast for Black people, by Black people, about everything Black. So listen, we want to know the importance of a doula in the Black community, like for Black women. Why is a doula important for Black women in your in your opinion, your professional opinion?
Black women know how to take care of Black women, for one.
Okay.
I have some
to it.
We do.
Right.
There's just a connection, cultural.
Yes.
Even our own language, it's different. I have some, clients, I like to call them honeys to be as inclusive as possible.
Okay.
They will not, do certain things with certain different demographics, particularly white professionals. They don't feel comfortable, and that comes with a history of trauma.
Right.
Don't feel comfortable with even, pediatricians letting them know the things that they want to do with their own babies. So for doulas, with Black women having the highest rates of maternal mortality, it has been shown and proven that we improve those rates. We lessen C-sections. About 1 in 3 births are C-sections now, compared to maybe less than 10%, maybe 20, 30 years ago. And about 60% of cesareans are unnecessary. So really, it's just doctors not respecting that labor takes time. It takes 10 months to make a baby, and it could take 24 hours to labor as well. So we protect that space of mothers being able to birth naturally, understand their bodies, understand how labor feels, and then we also provide comfort measures so that you don't have to acquiesce to epidurals. Or because once you step in the hospital, you are on a time clock to have that baby. And it's basically 1 centimeter every hour that they want you to dilate, or else they feel like the labor is going too long. So then they start to talk about inductions. And these are the things that lead to C-sections. But for our community, because this has been stripped away from us, because again, we used to see our aunts and our mothers and our sisters birth babies. We understood how birth was, so there wasn't so much fear. Because we didn't have all of this in ancestral times, and even in slavery, we were birthing babies in cotton fields and, going back to work, in a couple of days. But particularly for Black women, just to educate them on how childbirth works. And there is a mental aspect to it. Birth it's mental. It's 10% physical. It is a mind over matter. But to have someone that is, I am there with you the entire time. 24 hours is the most I can give, but I have backup support while I rest. And if I have to come back, I come back. If you decided to do induction, sometimes they can go 3. Mine personally went 5 days, so I couldn't expect the doula to hang in 5 days. But the type of support that we give is building trust, because I'm with families for almost a year. I've been offered godmother roles, and because it's just that much of a connection, and I'm like, it's the oxytocin talking, girl. Just give it a couple weeks and you'll find someone. But
the relationships just become
that connection.
Yeah,
right.
And with me being a little older, they kind of say I want that auntie love, or that big sister love, and I try to come in as a big sister and not tell you what to do. I don't. The word allow is crazy to me in a hospital, because nothing is law in a hospital. So it's just providing Black women autonomy over their body, because they haven't had that. It's only been 50 years since we've been able to take care of our children the way that we want to. So that has been stripped from us emotionally, psychologically. That generational trauma, just the big myth of spoiling your baby is one of the biggest, tropes that we're trying to get rid of, because that was something that you couldn't get attached to your kids, because you didn't know if you would have your baby. So you had to keep your baby as far away as possible, because your slave master could come and sell your children. So that is some of the things that we have passed down generationally. Even though we're not going through those physical attributes, societally, we still dealing with racism, implicit bias, and some of that same thinking is still in our communities. But usually, if families are choosing to birth naturally, they usually want to breastfeed as well. So it's protecting that space as well, because we have the lowest rates of breastfeeding in the country. The rates are horrible, period. And I tell people out of 100 lactation consultants, maybe 1 or 2 are Black. So it's definitely not us. ruin the breastfeeding rates, we have to rely on our white counterparts to help us feed our babies. And which is, weird because we fed their babies for a long time during slavery. So breaking those myths, putting out the right education, updated education.
The whole thing.
Yeah. That's what's up. As we've been sitting there listening to you, you're literally going down
point.
That's what's up. No.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize.
It's a good thing.
Very passionate about this.
No, I
We can
understand.
tell, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And
It is.
the one thing I like that you said, right, because I feel like that's technology in a whole.
Right.
When people have made things so accessible and so easy to do, they kind of they say they almost feel like what's they saying, work smarter, not harder.
Yes.
And so that's insinuating that we have the technology now, so that's the smarter way, right? But there are things that are worth the time.
Worth the wait. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, and you said something, a key component. You said it takes 10 months for this whole process, right? For you to be put on a time clock, so to speak,
To birth a baby.
To make sure that your baby is healthy.
An 8-pound, 15-ounce baby. So
Yeah.
that was at 38 weeks. If I had gone 40, he would have been
Right.
10, 11 pounds. So
Right.
you push out a 10-pound baby and rush it.
Yeah.
Come out paying rent.
He can't. Oh, and I had a C-section, unfortunately, but they were saying that ain't no baby, that's a toddler. Like they were literally joking about my baby. You know, I'm strapped down, in C-section. So
Yeah.
the bedside manner.
You started to talk about, you started going to the success rate a little bit
Statistics.
of it, the statistics. And so you did say the 1 in every 3 births are C-section.
C-sections.
Okay, so what about a doula, the success rate of a doula, like as far as the births being...
Well, what is shown is it decreases the chances of about 25% of you having Pitocin, which is an induction as well. We kind of help decrease the mechanisms that are in the hospital. So even though moms may go to the hospital and they may not necessarily birth vaginally or unmedicated, the goal is really so that you don't leave with trauma and that you understand why they're doing the procedures that you're doing. But it has shown that the birth rates are doing well with Black women, community doulas as well. I don't have the physical numbers at hand, but there was a published article with NIH saying how just the physical support of someone being there the entire time that's just focused on you, and dad as well. My goal, our first visit, is with dad because I want to know, are you comfortable with birth? Are you comfortable with the choices that she's making with birth, whether she's doing home birth centers, or hospitals? Because if you're not good, she's not good. So sometimes we have to do a meeting of the mind. Some dads may say, okay, well, can we do a birth center? So that way it's as natural as possible, but we still have a provider watching. For some reason, people think home birth is this torture chamber and that we're just letting women scream and be in pain. And it's nothing like that. Like these midwives are literally sitting up triage centers with neonatal resuscitation. They have Pitocin on hand. They have, tools that they have to use as well to make sure that you deliver your baby safely. And they are watching to make sure that the natural process is going the way that it should. And if at any moment it isn't, we go to the hospital, what we call a transfer. And it doesn't mean that moms can't birth vaginally. It just means that now we really do need to be monitored to make sure that baby is safe and mom is safe. But we definitely have an effect on the maternal mortality rates because most Black women are dying within 42 days of childbirth. And it comes from preeclampsia, which is pregnancy-induced hypertension. There are also pregnancy complications where the placenta may not be as healthy, or just having postpartum hypertension after birth, which can last. It's something that I suffered with for about 2 weeks, and thankfully was able to recover, because you can potentially be on it for life, the medicine that they give you. So we definitely have an effect of hoping that you accept, because I cannot predict the way birth is going to go. So, I make sure that moms know that I'm not birthing your babies, because this could go left at any moment. But it's just making sure you understand what's going on with your body. You don't have to be forced to do anything. And the things that you choose to do, you're okay with that, so that you don't leave with trauma, and we can move to the next phase of childbirth, which is breastfeeding, and which is postpartum. So this is phases, as opposed to where the hospitals are just birthing your babies and they send you off. I see my clients more often than they see their OB. So maybe 3 or 4 visits within a month. They get 1 visit in 6 weeks unless something's wrong. There's a lot of things that can be wrong that these moms just don't understand what's going on with their bodies, particularly with hypertension, because it comes with headaches, dizziness, swelling, and women tend to suffer in silence. Being a mother is something that everybody judges. What you do, how you do it, you have a baby. So women are learning how to be mothers, learning how to be this new person that they have birthed, because you'll never be the same. And it takes time to go through that phase. So you have someone that's educated in that space that you can kind of lean into, talk to, express what you're going through. Because a lot of times we have to talk about it. And this is how moms end up into going into postpartum depression, or, when it goes further than baby blues. So we definitely have seen a reduction in, the postpartum transition. My job is to try to make it as smooth as possible.
Okay.
With the support, with the visits, and things like that. But
you mentioned trauma a few times. Mm-hmm. What kind of trauma are you referring to?
Oh my gosh. My very first hospital birth, I actually witnessed a nurse hold the baby in because the doctor wasn't in the room. Can you imagine telling a birthing mother, hold your baby in? That's some extreme pain. And I'm like, no, I'm sitting there saying, you birth your baby. You remember all this stuff we taught you? When to birth, when to breathe, when you feel the urge to push, you push. And literally, I had to go run to the nurses station, get the nurses and tell them the baby was coming. They're looking at me like you kind of. And I'm like, the baby is coming. So they're running into the room. The doctor doesn't even have time to do his thing. He literally has to, get this baby. And they told me not to record, but I did. And I got it all on film, her, holding this baby. And that's traumatic, making someone hold their baby in when your body is naturally trying to push your baby out. Your body will do something called a fetal ejection reflex. It doesn't need your help. It will push your baby out for you. Mm-hmm. You have to fall into it, surrender. So when you begin to have fear, it increases your pain, which increases your fear. And it's a cycle. And your body takes all of that in, and your body will stall labor because it perceives that it's not safe. So now it says, oh, we're in a fight and flight mode. So what we doing? We throwing hands or we running? What's going on? So naturally your body will protect your baby when it's time to birth.
Is there anything, so you mentioned that, there are different phases, so to speak, when you, that will require a hospital visit, like, if the, after the doula started your services, you began your services and stuff like that, is there anything that you foresee beforehand? Because you don't use ultrasounds and stuff like that, obviously sonograms. So are there any complications that you might see in the pregnancy beforehand that you off the rip you say, okay, no, you're gonna have to do this in a
well, pain, we really relate to where mothers are feeling their pain. So even during birth, I'm asking, where do you feel it? Because as baby descending, the pain kind of moves lower, and then it finally gets to your butt where it's time to push. But if we've been in active labor for a long time and the pain is just still up, at the top of the belly, which is really the top of the uterus, you can kind of see that things may be going differently. I've been in situations where you can basically see the head, but mom just cannot push the baby out. And it's certain things like shoulder dystocia where, baby just kind of gets lodged into the pelvis, or the cord could be wrapped around a couple times, which is fairly common. You know, it happens. The cord is very slippery. It's made, for knots to move up and down. But sometimes they can be short. All bodies are different. So mom may not be able to push the baby. So she may have to have an episiotomy, where she may have to get cut, where she doesn't have to have the C-section. And it's all about knowing that there are steps that you can take instead of just going straight to the C-section. Some moms will probably have to have emergency C-sections. I've had a mom, baby's heart rate, she didn't feel it for a whole day. Went into the hospital. It was best for her to deliver her baby, because the fetal heart rate was just decelling. So they don't want to play around with things like that. So hospitals have their place for emergencies, I always say.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, what kind of resources? So my question, okay, say I'm pregnant and I'm battling on, do I have a doula? First off, let me rewind that because I'm confused. I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
Doula, midwife.
Okay.
The
midwife does all the clinical, the prenatals. They will do the cervical, the cervix, exams, keep up with your blood pressure. They pull out all the tools and things like that, the fetal Dopplers, and catch your baby, literally, help you deliver your baby. The doula simply helps you stay focused. We put you in different positions that will make, it easier for baby to descend. We give you physical support, such as pain management, massages, words of affirmation, comfort. I mean, I have some moms that, say, when time comes, tell me to push, bitch, excuse my language, but
no.
some moms want that, they need that type of encouragement, and some moms may just need you physically there. And even partner support. So it's just making sure the two of you are connected, because dads play a really, really great heavy role in getting that baby out. So I like to know what your love story is, because a lot of times we have to go back to there where you met. Because, these contractions can make you look at them a little differently. When that pain hits, we say, hey, Ashley, remember where you met that man, girl?
Tinder.
Tinder, we do. And you'd be surprised. I have some friends with benefits. You can tell, like, oh, okay, this wasn't, what it was. But we'll move past that. But, doulas are just, basically information. So even though I have my phone, I have a mom doing 2 weeks. They just text me, hey, I'm feeling this. What does this mean? What does this mean? So I don't give any advice for, I'm not going to suggest you eat anything. Of course, basic, keep up with your diet. No prescriptions, not even Tylenol, so it's just whatever your provider allows you to have. But we're just simply there to support you through it, because you have so many questions as a first-time mom. So we give you that education. For me particularly, I do childbirth education and breastfeeding education. So you get kind of a glimpse of to what you're going to go into, and then we go over comfort measures that I'll do to you, ways that I'll touch you, positions, and you'd be surprised the same positions you got that baby in are the same ones that get the baby out. So don't be afraid to get on all fours, girl. I encourage romance, relaxation during early labor, because this increases oxytocin. Oxytocin is what pushes your baby out. So for me, I'm giving you the stuff the doctor's not going to tell you. They're very technical 5-minute visits. My visits are almost 90 minutes. I'm meeting your family. If you decide to do a home birth, a lot of times families want to know, what is this? They look at me just like that. So what you about? How I know this safe? So they're asking me questions, but it's just making sure that whoever is going to be in that room with you is supporting you. You feel safe and you feel loved. And if anybody questions that, they can break your psyche, and I'm there to kick them out if I have to.
So doulas are good in the hospital as well. It's just not home births.
No.
Okay, so
we go in the hospital
too.
Just
at home for.
No.
Oh, okay.
We go in the hospital too.
Okay.
Right.
So,
okay. Yeah. Because that definitely was one of our questions. Is basically how well received is it in the medical field? I mean,
it's 50-50.
Okay.
I've walked in some conversations and people have been talking about me.
I
don't care.
Yeah.
My mom birthed vaginally.
Right, because you have people that went to school for 37 years.
Yeah, I'm up against a lot of people, and it's just me with knowledge of natural childbirth.
Look at this Wikipedia University.
It is, and I appreciate all the work that they went in. But again, I tell parents they are specialists in emergencies. So my job is, there have been times where it's been something as simple as mom is just tired and she can't push this baby out, but they won't allow you to eat or drink after a certain time. And it's like, hey, but when we're at home, we give them a little shot of sugar, wake them up, you know, and next thing you know, they got the energy to push this baby out. So it's things like that where I can say, hey, Ashley, let's get some power juice. I can't tell the doctor to do anything for you, but I can remind you. I've seen them, you know, do some things where I can just yell the word consent and backs straighten up real quick because they haven't asked you, could they do that? They just, you know, want to do cervical check. Why? What are the reasons? So sometimes I'm well received. Some nurses are all for doulas because they understand our importance. We kind of give nurses a break a little bit too. You know, they don't have to come in and check, you know, as often. So, you know, you may walk in and I got you upside down, but we getting the baby, you know, where we need to be. And then there are some nurses, they feel like we're a threat, you know, to mother's health or a baby's health. Because you may have some doulas that are, you know, there are different types of doulas, different types of trainings. They have some are just birth advocacy. They just go in with guns a-blazing. And then you have some that are just more emotional support. You know, I try to do integrative care. But if I need to say something, I will, you know.
So you did say the insurance. Like so let's talk about insurance real quick. How does that play a part with people deciding to use doulas for their birth? Like if there is a complication, then what happens? Like, you know, does the insurance company say, well, that's why you should have went to a hospital? You know what I'm saying? Or
well, right now Georgia does not support insurance services for doulas, but you can use your HSA or FSA to pay for our support. So we just have to provide a receipt saying that we were doing the childbirth education. And moms have used that before and they've gotten reimbursed, you know, on some things. You can get insurance services for lactation education or childbirth education. But for me specifically, no support. So these parents are paying out of pocket, you know. And we have, you know, I have budgets that fit, you know, all. I mean, I have packages that fit all budgets. So lower income, you know, and I have some parents that have the disposable income to be able to pay for a midwife and a doula. You know, it's just giving the support that they need, but they all get the same love from me, you know, regardless of what their pockets look like, because I want you to have this baby, you know, safely. But for insurance, that's something that we are fighting for. Expansion of Medicaid for postpartum care as well, because we have postpartum doulas that just specifically work with the postpartum period with moms, helping them learn how to mother their babies, newborn care, doing light housework, cleaning, the things that you would normally be doing around the home. We take care of that so you can take care of your baby. So we know everybody's going to take care of the baby. The baby's good.
So those are the services they provide for postpartum. Right?
Yeah, so we're fighting for that to get in Georgia, to have an expansion of that, because every mother should have that. Your postpartum, you know, can last forever if you don't do it right. But, you know, I always say once you have a child, that's forever. I still call my mom at, you know, 44 mama.
Yeah. So just so I heard you correctly, though, the certification, that varies with doulas.
It does.
So you can have a person that has, so yeah, just please the certification and qualifications to become a doula.
That. So certain trainings, all trainings will give you a certification. I don't have a certification as a birth doula, but I have a certification as a community health worker, and it specializes in maternal child health. So that includes birth doula, lactation, and postpartum. I just did my training separately. I got the certification in the breastfeeding because it is very clinical. So again, I don't provide any clinical support for birth families. It's just emotional and physical. Now, some people at the time, it was required during the pandemic. They wanted everybody to be certified. But the only certifying bodies they had were these white-led organizations that really weren't conducive to Black life. Let's just be real. So a lot of Black organizations start their own trainings to teach us how to care for our women. Because again, Black women know how to take care of Black women. So depending on what you want to do, You could get that certification because certain hospitals, if you want to work in the hospital, you have to have the certification. There are some hospitals that are doing like pilot programs where they're bringing in community doulas. Some are even volunteer doulas, to help families because they see our importance, and they're trying to figure out a way to mesh the two worlds, which is one of the reasons why I lean more on the title of community health worker, because it's not so abrasive. When I say doula, I get the eye rolls, you get the automatic judgment, and that's why I say no, I'd rather go with this title, and it gives me a broader scope as well too. So I'm able to have advanced training. So I have gone as far as top specialty with kids that have tongue ties. I work at a local tongue tie clinic, partner with them. So as a doula, you can kind of, shape what your support is, how you want to support families. There are some doulas that are physical therapists. There are some that are RNs. So if you want that medical aspect of somebody coming in, taking your blood pressure, I'm teaching you how to do it. Yeah. Because if I'm not there, you still need to know how to do it, as opposed to somebody coming in. And that's how we change healthcare, is we need to get the patients involved in their own care and not just relying and listening to the providers and trusting them because they have the 37 years of experience. Yeah, so it just depends on what you want to do in your community. I'm more of a breastfeeding advocate, so I have all of my certifications in that. And I honestly wasn't trying to be a doula. My patients made me. My clients, they were like, if you're gonna help me latch, can you help me get through this? So I actually took my training during the pandemic. I was afraid to come out. So I said, well, it's time to learn something. So I did free classes, breastfeeding classes for an entire year, virtual. Got a lot of clients from that. And then I went on to be a birth doula, do the training, and I loved it. I fell in love with it, but I also saw where the gap was when it came to hospital births, particularly, because it's completely different with home births. We just leave these moms alone as long as we look at vital signs. As long as they're good, we leave you, let you rest, and we come back in 24 hours. And we do, our postpartum checks. So it's completely different from the hospital. Everything is chaotic. Everything is a rush. And sometimes it's just unnecessary. And these moms can't sleep in the hospital. And that's the one thing they want. After birth, you just went 24 hours laboring. Both you and baby are tired. And dad. So we let you all rest, and then we come back and we start our postpartum support.
Gotcha. Right.
It's beautiful. You want to have another baby? Just try it all over again.
Tip didn't even turn around and look.
We up there. Well, so it's not.
Go ahead.
Man, they do say that there are males in your profession, but it's just not.
Yes, we have dad doulas. They specifically work with fathers on how to comfort them, and just how to teach them to support their partners. A lot of partners have never seen their partners in pain before, so to see a birthing, your partner in labor, it can be paralyzing. And then, what do I do? How do I support? So my job is to take my hand away, take your hand, put it here, and rub. We're just telling you simple things, and it's not hard. It really isn't. It's just being in a safe space where she knows you're nearby and you're touched. So I tell my client, he loves you. I love what I do. The combination of us together, we're going to get this baby out.
Okay. So he's I was like a doula.
Yeah, you are.
I was a doula.
Anybody can be a doula.
Shake your head and wink.
But that's the thing, is that anybody can be a doula.
I was right next to a company of mine.
I had my first,
I did that.
I had my first situation with a pregnant person at 14. My neighbor, she came downstairs. She was from another country, didn't speak English. But she knew to come downstairs and knock on the door, and her water broke right in front of me. And being 14, I said, have a seat on my couch. My mom, came on, what? You put her on my couch? I've been trapped in an elevator with a pregnant woman that was in labor. So I've had all of these instances, with pregnant people not really understanding, this was probably my calling. And then once I had a baby, I was just trying to have a baby, y'all, and, breastfeed. And that's how I got into this and realized the bias and the poor support. So I got to change this. I know I can change this some kind of way.
Yeah, experience is the best teacher.
It is. And unfortunately, we hate that we have to have a baby to get there. So my job is hopefully, I have some people that have never had a baby and they're just interested. They know that they want to birth naturally. They know they want to breastfeed. So they start the education early, which is key, to having a baby. Yeah. So we have to start having a baby before we have the baby. And that includes prenatal nutrition, making sure mentally you're good, health-wise, physical, your relationship is good. We got to stop saying I want to have a baby and I want to raise a baby. It's completely different if you think about it like that.
Talk about
so,
it.
A baby will bring out 3 new people, in a relationship. So it's just making sure that you all have time to understand that. And sometimes we need to block family out for a minute. Let us get this together, figure out how we want a family, and then we'll kind of, phase you guys in. And that's what I teach too. People always want to come over and take the baby. And usually moms don't want that. Yeah. And it's hard for them to say that, give me my baby back, especially to an elder, or something. But it's that 4th trimester is, I'm very, I don't hold the babies for 2 weeks because scent matters. So I would hate for them, because I'm a professional. I know how to hold the baby. Baby being latched on me, and mom's mad, so it's, it's very, you don't want to touch the baby. I'm not here for your baby. Yeah. I'm here for you,
And here at TNC, Truth No Chaser, we are big on mental health. Mm-hmm. And we mentioned a couple of times in passing about postpartum. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we all can talk about stories that we know, people who suffered from postpartum. Mm-hmm. What kind of services do you, per se, provide?
I do have training in perinatal mental anxiety disorders. So I screen, so I ask questions. You may not even know I'm asking you these questions. So I know how to get the information out of you. And if I see things, I even, talk to Dad. Hey, Dad, you have my number too. If you see anything that is out of the ordinary, because you guys know her very well, just reach out to me. Usually in my packets, I provide resources of mental health expert, that you can you have access to, so you don't have to go and look for these people, because looking for providers can be a challenge in itself. Trying to vet, you may want a Black provider, you may want, and again, Black women know how to take care of Black women. So I have a wealth of resources from pelvic floor therapists, because you do need that having vaginal birth. There's a lot of women to walk around peeing on themselves after having a baby. It's not normal. So it's just little things like that we're trying to educate you on your body. Just having even meditation or, yoga, therapeutic sessions where you get to talk about your birth, because you have to get that out. You can't hold that in if it is traumatic or if it's beautiful. Some moms, oh my God, tell it, girl. I want to hear all about it. I want to hear how good I was, that. But, it's just providing that space where they feel comfortable enough to say, hey, Jada, something's not right. I'm having these intrusive thoughts, and you're going to have some intrusive thoughts as a new parent. Yeah. But, my job is to teach you how to battle those, temporarily, but also know when it's going too far so that we can intervene, before it gets too bad.
Okay. So this is, and I'm apologize in advance, to the room, because I know this question is going to be super dark, because of just taking everything in. Mm-hmm. From what you're saying, you speak a lot about the connections that you've had with Dad, making sure that as a couple they feel comfortable with your services, and you also spoke about the obscure and difficult situations you've been in as far as laboring. But have you ever had to provide your services for someone with an unfortunate circumstance, as in like how do you connect with her when it wasn't really a planned pregnancy, like the absent father, or maybe a rape victim, or how do you connect with someone on a spiritual level when that situation becomes that difficult?
It's just simply listening. Simply listening. Sometimes I don't have to.
You don't have to say that again.
Sometimes I don't have to say anything. It's just being in the room and listening. They've never had a space to deal with that. I personally haven't dealt with anyone with sexual assault, but I've dealt with people that have had miscarriages, stillbirths, and now they are having another baby. I had one client, she really didn't get it. She just didn't enjoy her baby. She was just checking things off because she did have a couple of miscarriages. And first thing I said is, have you had a chance to enjoy this baby? You're 8 months pregnant. I think we're across the finish line. I think we can, start talking to our, baby, rubbing the baby, the belly, connecting, getting the partner to connect because, we can only do what we can do. We can't change anything. But it's really just being able to, I make sure I also have training in PAIL support, which is pregnancy and stillbirth loss. So we teach you how to connect with these objects or maybe memorabilia, doing scrapbooks or doing an actual memorial service. I may have to provide, resources for that as well. Some moms may want to continue donating their breast milk. So I help them with the lactation portion of it if they want to do that, or if they want to stop. I help them, stop the milk as well. So it's really just listening to what they want, because a lot of times they'll tell you what they want. They know exactly what they want, but are they comfortable enough to tell you, what they want? I need to hear how you're thinking. I need to hear, are those thoughts getting too intrusive? Because I got backup.
Right.
I got backup. We're not going to let you fall. We're not going to let you fall. So, I say, fortunately, I haven't, dealt with too much trauma. It's just been mostly from hospital treatment. But I haven't had a sexual assault victim yet that has, as far as birth is concerned. I've had some lactation-wise, just in my intake form, just asking questions. And just like you, is there anything that's off the table? Right. So again, it's just listening to Black mothers, because nobody listens to us. Yeah. So that's the first step, is listening, and then you can pretty much figure out what the next step can be from there.
Gotcha.
So I'm sure we've all heard different myths about midwives and well, I never heard about doula until we started to have you on the show, so I'm not gonna lie. But what are some myths that we may have heard that may shy somebody who's looking to give a natural birth, or just once is curious about my first time mother, I'm nervous about certain things, but I heard this and I don't want. So what are some myths that you guys?
We're midwives. We're not midwives. We don't catch babies.
That's the first myth.
One. We don't catch no babies.
That.
I mean, I've had some instances where I've had to, get my hammer, catch a baby. Not gonna let the baby fall, but if the midwife's in the room, we're gonna let her handle, or dad. Usually, dad is the one.
Shout out to your shirt, man. Cues to catch.
Thank you. Baby
Cues to catch.
I was reading as she first walked in. Yeah.
Feeding cues. Yes. So another one is that we're gonna take dad's place. I said, no, we can't. He knows you better than I do. I've literally walked in some spaces and the energy is so thick, and I'll be like, Dad, I'm getting the sense she doesn't want to be touched. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, good. So I know how to work with you. I've had some moms, they don't want you to touch me. I don't want you to touch me. Just stand there and be in the space. So it's up to you to decide how you want to birth. Another one is, let's see, what else can they say? That we just show up for the birth and we leave. Incompetent doula, baby. But, I'm there up to 3 hours after the birth because I want to make sure baby gets a full feed, and that could take an hour. So I'm there to teach you how to breastfeed, teach you how to latch, teach you how to help her to latch as well. But those are some of the common myths that, that we do. And a lot of them think that we are medical providers and take insurance. And, we don't. We out here, working these streets like everybody else trying to get paid.
So do doulas and midwives bump heads? You ever walked in a room and she'd be like, why are you here for? This is my job.
No, because we know our role.
Everybody plays their lane.
Yeah, everybody stays in their lane. I work with an awesome midwife, Birth by Grace Midwifery. I have to shout out Christine Taylor.
Say it one more time.
Birth by Grace Midwifery Services. We are in Tyrone, Georgia. I have an office location. I just moved out there last week.
Okay, congrats.
A couple weeks ago. But I've learned so much from her. She's very intuitive, but we definitely have different spaces. I come before the midwife. I'm there to keep you calm, cool, and then I'm sidebarring on the sides. Hey, she's vocal. She's starting to moan a lot. She's saying she's got to push. Maybe time for you to come. So I let the midwife know pretty much time for you to head this way. If they decide, to get a doula, some people... Well, if they don't get a midwife, you're pretty much doing an unassisted birth, so, and that can be very tricky because you don't want to get caught up in liability if something happens. Yeah. I don't do unassisted. You have to have a provider. I'm not that comfortable. I've only been a doula 2 years. I'm about 37 births in.
Okay.
But it's still not enough for me.
Right, yeah.
You know, to now if we're in an elevator and I have no choice, then I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I know, I know how to get a baby out, but yeah, I let them stay in their lane.
Gotta get the shower cap and gloves like Martin, right?
Warm towel. I'm catching the baby.
Systolic and diastolic normal.
Right. I'm just not saying the medical terms, but but that's why I say anybody could be a doula. Because you see, people birthing in cabs, and the reason they do that is because they feel safe, and that's all. That's the key to birth, is feeling safe and loved.
But you see, saying calves. Right. Remind me of Best Man Holiday, right? Remember?
Oh yeah.
That reminds me of.
Well, they had a viral meme. There was a Latino cab driver, and the mom was having the baby in the back. He was like, whoa. He was just coaching her. Okay, mommy, you can do this. Push. And she got that baby out, and he said, okay, you're going to pay for that mess back there, though. Right. So that's a doula. He's a doula. He encouraged you. And that's all it is saying, you got this, Ashley. You can do it, girl. You got to say one time, I can't do this, Jada, for me to believe it. And then I say, oh, you got it.
Yeah, bad doula. So, I still hear about it.
You said what?
I was a bad doula. Still hear about it, especially on
Jay
my
was fired.
What you was fainting and stuff?
Nah, I just didn't
do anything.
I didn't. Yeah.
Good job, Crystal.
I did my part. I sweated on the front end. It's your turn. Like, I don't know.
I was good.
Throw him away.
I was good, right? Tiff, I was rubbing her head. I was all in her ear, like.
Blink twice, Ted. Was he good?
I was not. I know I was.
Yeah, the Queens, New York. I had a Harlem, New York.
My husband was very nervous. He was unplugging stuff. I was like, look, just take a break. Tripping over stuff. That just wasn't his.
Harvey.
It wasn't right.
Ripping out the cord.
No, I was like, I don't know if I need that in there. And I was like, hey, just go take a walk. I'll be fine.
I did have one
I'll be
super
good.
doula moment.
What would you do?
But I was coming back up upstairs from getting the McDonald's from downstairs, and I had some fries, and she was falling asleep, and the baby was about to fall out. I caught my daughter. Saved my daughter life.
You did something.
Catch. Cue's a catch. You get a shirt from her real quick. Cue's a catch. Quick, just a little bit of talk. Do you do anything for, what is it, World Doula Week? World Doula Week is March 22nd through the 28th. Do you do anything to celebrate it?
Yeah, we do a lot of postpartum groups still, meetups. I have given away services, before. But again, I'm a fresh doula 2, years into this, but definitely, make put it out into the community. It's our week to really shine and show off, what we do. I sit back and I like to promote the younger people, so whatever activities that they have going on. I have a Facebook group that is strictly for lactation. So I love to promote them. It's just Black professionals that are becoming IBCLCs. I have a postpartum doula group. So it's just making sure that everybody's involved. I try to share as much information as possible. But I haven't gotten to the span of events, or anything huge like that. But, I go to different, things that doulas are having. There's a Black birth worker brunch coming up in November. So, I'm looking forward to participate in that and just kind of, getting my name out in the community that I'm here.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So that last one, go ahead, Ashley, take it away.
The recap.
No, the reverse. We're
big on this part.
Yeah, definitely.
As Jay said in her tagline.
We went over the myths and misconceptions. For those who, they should be educated now after listening to this.
Right.
But those who are how do we reverse the miseducation of a doula?
They are not midwives.
Yeah, because they're
let's get that straight.
Not midwives.
We're in the world of social media, so, half of the information is misinformation, half of it is true. But we definitely have to stay on top of promoting ourselves. There are a lot of doulas that are just pretty much community doulas, word of mouth, so you only find them because you're in the know. But definitely we just have to keep talking and dispelling the misinformation and really sharing what we do, because like Ashley says, I don't know what the purpose of you is, and when you have that baby, then you say, now I see why I hired you. Because that's after the baby, there's just, God, Jada, my hands are little, and they're like, have these women 6 feet tall. I'm like, don't judge me on my height. My hands are strong, girl. You know,
Girl, what
but
you going to say? No, just
and they'll say that, like, why are you so strong? And I'm like, I got to press those hips together, you know? So it's just showing that my thing is we know the fear. We know the maternal mortality. I want there to be joy in birth because happy people birth happy babies, you know? So regardless of how you're birthing, you understand what you're getting into, you understand what your rights are in the hospital, and you understand that you have autonomy over your body. And if you don't want to do something, you don't have to do anything. I mean, I've had moms snatch their cords out of insides and like, I'm leaving. I'm like, okay, you gonna go home. And it just wasn't their time to birth. And they come back 2 days later and birth the baby. So it's being intuitive because you know your body better than I do. You know, so I'm asking you, Ashley, what are you feeling? You know, so there's some things in shared decision making. But I think if I have a lot of dads that hire me, a lot of dads that find me because they just want to make sure their baby good, you know, that she has all the education. I know I may not know everything, you know, like Jay said, I caught the baby. Hey, that's good. That's what we need. But they know that they need that extra added support because sometimes dads are voiceless too, you know, because we're all like, this is my body, this is such and such. And, you know, it's some parts of the visit where I'm like, I'm not asking how she eating, how she handles stress, because she's not going to tell me the truth. He knows, like, oh, she handles stress. She, you know, go upstairs and do stuff because normally that's how you're going to act in birth. So it's just getting our, you know, faces out there doing things like this podcast so that we can introduce ourselves to the community and let people know we're here to help.
There you go.
You know,
I love
There
it.
you go.
I
I
love
like
it.
that. I like that plug too. Thank
Right.
you.
the
Appreciate
podcast,
you.
yes.
Yeah. Because you know you don't get enough of this.
You don't.
You know, I'm. You know what I'm saying? We
don't.
tired of who get the big piece of chicken at the table and all that shit. You know
And
what I'm
that's,
saying?
you know, I think Issa Rae, you know, said it best. We're always trying to get the people at the top. We're trying to get the people that are already near us on the same
love
level.
somebody.
Because
That's
we're
good.
all, you know, we hustling,
Amen.
you know. So I try to collaborate with people. Oh, you don't know? I don't know you either. So let's do
to
something
know each
big
other.
together.
I love
Let's do something
somebody.
big together. So that's, you know, how
That's
it
it. I like
happens.
that.
The answer is always in our communities.
Right.
It's always, we don't have to
right.
look outside. The answers are in our communities.
That's big.
That's what's up. Good Ash.
So, what is coming up next for Miss Jada and the doulas? And what is the name of your company? Well, I know because I read the bio and I read.
You did.
I seen your bio.
Thank you, thank you,
online,
thank
the website. But for those who do not know, the name of your company is
The Milk and Honey Company.
Yes.
So it is synonymous with the famous restaurant.
Yeah,
I
I
do
was
get.
say not to be.
I
Right.
get chicken orders too. I do. I answer them. They say.
I'm about to say I know.
I say, look.
Y'all got breasts down there. Y'all was a breast
did.
specialist.
I
Hey,
had
can I get
one.
chicken and waffle?
I did have some. I said no. I don't serve those
Not those
breasts.
breasts.
But
yeah. Not these kind of breasts.
it's not.
Say
So I
y'all
said I
big.
have to meet the owner one day, and we have to collaborate.
That'd
you know,
be
and do a
so
chicken and waffle.
dope, yo.
Yeah, but I do get a lot of their calls, and they probably get some of mine too. But I actually just.
I don't know have you ever gotten a customer base of it. You know, I was looking for a doula. You know, that's funny. It's gotta be,
literally,
look at
like-
God.
I literally got a call because they were behind on a bill and they were like, yeah, we're calling. I was like, this is the breastfeeding business. I think you want the restaurant, you know. So, you know,
Oh,
I
no, she put it all
Battle.
out there.
Can you imagine the restaurant getting the other call?
Right.
Yeah, right.
I can only imagine. So that's why I say I have to meet up with them. But I actually just got accepted into the School of Public Health at Georgia State University.
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Big up, big
So
up.
I am,
Don't
you
forget
know,
about us. Go ahead.
I'm not. I am super interested in preeclampsia, which is, you know, is one of the
Preeclampsia.
preeclampsia. It is
Preeclampsia.
pregnancy hypertension.
Okay.
Is one of the leading causes that kills Black women in birth, and it also causes premature birth with infants, and it leaves them with low birth weights, and it is the highest cause of infant mortality. So we got duality here that we have to, if we can fix the births, we can fix the babies, we can fix the breastfeeding. So my tag is birth better, breastfeed better. But I'm hoping, you know, to do a lot of research, do some super doula programs where we are educated in birth, trained in lactation. Again, my niche is the birth to breastfeeding period. So I'm there for that sensitive time of the first 2 weeks. If anybody's ever breastfeeded, they know that's a very intense time. And it's a lot easier if you have someone like me checking on you every couple of days. How's it going?
Yeah.
Let me come over and show you how to do it. things like that. And again, I have, the extension of looking out for trouble spots as well. But basically that's it, just increasing my knowledge and creating more awareness. And hopefully I can, get a birth doula program going and teach some other people, because I'm moving out of the phase of peer and into mentor, I think, being a bit older. So once I get a few more years under my belt, definitely that. But with my group, The Future of Lactation, I definitely want to, put them on the map, because they work so hard. Black IBCLCs in our communities, helping us feed our babies. Definitely want to promote that, as much as I can. My goal is 1 million. I know it's huge, but my dad told me to dream big.
Yeah, girl.
You go high, you may get the middle, So those are my goals, is to really focus on, finishing school with 2 kids in school at the same time. And, hopefully y'all see me on a TED Talk or something in a couple years, really doing the damn thing for Georgia, because Georgia has horrible maternal mortality rates. I think we bounce between 2 and 3 between Alabama and Mississippi.
Wow.
And, Louisiana. So we got to do something. Out of 160 counties, only 80 counties have an OBGYN. So a lot of these families are traveling.
Just to get to one,
literally half. Yep. So
before we get about here, I definitely want to ask, because I know personally my sister and a few other people that I know had trouble lactation. So somebody may be watching and wondering, like, am I doing something wrong? Is it me? What can I do better? So any gems or any advice that you may want, or tips that you can just give, like the 3 biggest ones to women now that they're watching or who are struggling with connecting to their baby?
Take a class. Take a breastfeeding class. Hire lactation specialist. Private support, particularly because the hospital support, they may not be specifically trained in lactation. And again, they don't have a lot of time. They're in the business of birth. Again, I'm there for 3 hours. There's not going to be a nurse that's going to be there in 3 hours. If your baby doesn't latch in 15 minutes, you're getting a swaddle, pacifier, and a nipple shield if there's pain. And a lot of times I have to unlearn what they've learned in the hospital so that they can get on. All of my home birth moms are breastfeeding.
That's what's up. I
think maybe out of 23 hospital births, 3 maybe formula. But they're mad at me. They're like, this 3 years, Jada, come on. When it's going to stop? I say, hey, I'm a specialist in the first latch, not the last. But definitely take a class and find support prenatally. I love to talk about hand expression because it will save your journey. So, I definitely have a kit for that as well, too.
With your future plans, all that you have going on, have you ever looked to collaborate with Senator Warnock with his initiatives?
I haven't gone statewide just yet. Hopefully with the School of Public Health, it'll kind of bring more people to me. I truly feel like this is ordained. It's, I haven't picked anything. It's just been kind of go here, and it's led me to bigger things. So now I'm here at Georgia State, so I'm just waiting to see what my steps are, and I'm going to follow it because it hasn't led me wrong so far. So hopefully I'll get to meet, Mr. Warnock and Stacey Abrams. I would love, because she definitely put us on the map with the lack of OBGYNs as well. So, I'm down to work with anybody that's, trying to save some Black lives.
That's what's
in this community.
Where can our followers and listeners find you, Jada? You
can find me locally at the Midwife Clinic Wednesdays and Thursdays out in Tyrone, Georgia. You can find me locally in person if you like in the office at Birth by Grace Midwifery Services. I am online, Facebook and IG, The Milk and Honey Company. Spell it all out how it sounds. My phone number's all over the internet, so I'm not hiding from anyone. Feel free to share. I'm on Facebook, as well. So I'm easily accessible. I will say that. So follow me and let's work together.
Yes. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it here, ladies and men.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. We have to talk to the men too. So you all are an important part of this equation, so don't ever forget that. So I, try to make it my best this is a family, thing, family birth here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed
Thank you for
this. I
stopping
enjoyed
by.
this.
There's a lot of
Thank you
information.
for educating the people because this is more important than they can even imagine. So honestly, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For
Thank
using
you.
our platform. And good luck to you in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
For those of you that are listening to Truth No Chaser, if you want to just keep up with us and our content and what we got going on in the future as well, you can always check us out at our website at thetruthnochaser.com. That's thetruthnochaser.com. We also stop by our Instagram, thanks to Miss Ashley Cochran, who's always keeping our IG popping. That's truth_no_chaser. Like I said, you can follow us for more content, merch, all that good stuff.
And for the visual version of this podcast, please go to youtube.com/thetruthnochaser. Again, youtube.com/thetruthnochaser for the video version of this podcast and other shows as well.
Until next time, keep walking in your truth, Black people.